Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? All right. This game was incredible. This weekend was great, but I just told Wade, and I really feel this way. I was so excited to get back to the mothership here, flying back from Arizona to talk to Wayne, because one of my favorite things is like the way he sees the game is awesome. So I'm just so pumped about this. Wayne, how are you? This show is going to be awesome. Can't wait to just break this down with you, man.
Yeah, I went to bed dumb early last night, and I woke up, I said a prayer, and I said, whatever you do, God, just let the Eagles lose. And
you didn't make it to the end of the game.
I was asleep. I woke up and I said, oh, we number one. Oh, we still number one. Oh, and we gonna be number one. I was like, yes, separation has finally started to settle in. The Niners are currently in the driver's seat. They just got to continue to do what they do week in and week out for the next 3 weeks. Just win the damn game.
Man, it's all. I mean, now, and we're going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to talk about the Niners game, obviously. But yeah, let's talk just about what we saw. The Eagles lose 3 in a row. And look at Mike C giving me flowers. I appreciate it. He said, last few weeks watching the Eagles coaching staff respond really showed Chapman's opinions on Sirianni to be correct. Look, the system that they run there, which I kind of respect, is so simple. It's probably one of the simple offense and defensive schemes in the NFL. It's keep it simple, stupid. Let's let our athletes, they got a great roster. Let's just make it simple. They don't have a lot of penalties. They just kind of, everything is chill. But Nick Bosa went out there and showed him, look, this is all you got to do. He showed him. And he even said at the press conference, we gave y'all the blueprint. Hopefully they follow it. Well, guess what? Not once, not twice, 3 times in a row. Man, I love it. So now the Niners got a huge, you already had the tiebreaker advantage. Now it's essentially a 2-game lead for the NFC West 1 seed. You got 3 games left. You can lose 1 game and still be fine. You lose 2 games, probably not. But, we'll talk about the 49ers schedule and all those things. But, man, I just really – look, here's what's crazy to me, Wayne. The 49ers have played the Seahawks 5 times in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles have played them once. The Eagles have more losses to them than the 49ers do in those 5 matchups versus 1 matchup.
You know what's funny? Pete Carroll owns the Eagles.
He does. The NFL's a matchup league. People don't understand that.
People don't. They don't, and they don't want to respect it. Just like it's early, too early, 2 weeks early, maybe 3 weeks early to talk about it. But Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay, and I know in that one game, if Kyle Shanahan had a quarterback, he would have owned him in that game too.
Yep.
So, now that Kyle has his guy, it's gonna be a little different come playoff time, because you're gonna see a little different from Kyle Shanahan. So look, all I'm saying is it's a matchup league. The Eagles can't beat. It doesn't matter what Eagle. It didn't matter if it was Vince Young, whoever the quarterback was. As long as Pete Carroll was coaching, they couldn't beat him.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between them having Russell Wilson to us having Brock Purdy. You talk about a seesaw effect. And real quick, one of my favorite clips all year, Steve Wilkes. I love Steve Wilkes right here.
This league is all about, each week is matchups and different things. So
we can play the game. We beat this team by that much. They should beat this team, but that's just not the way that it goes. Teams build themselves differently. How do the Seahawks build outside in? How do the 49ers build inside out? So certain matchups will benefit us that will not benefit them and vice versa. And so with the Eagles, you're starting to see it now. You're starting to see it. They go out, they lose 3 consecutive freaking games in a row. So let's pull this up. Let's look at the NFC playoff picture. Let's see what we got right now. 49ers are 1 seed by a considerable margin. We'll talk about the tiebreakers here in a second. But if the playoffs were today, Cowboys are the 2 against the Rams. That'd be the 2-7 matchup. You got Lions at 3 against the Vikings 6. That's the 3-6 matchup. And then now the Eagles are a wild card team. They're not getting a home game. And we know how much home field advantage in Philly is, like, that's their thing. Now they're going to have to play 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl.
On the road again.
And that would be the Bucks against Eagles in that 4-5 matchup, man. So what stands out to you as far as just these playoff seedings? If the playoffs were to happen today, we're only 3 weeks out.
When I tell you that I'm in love, not infatuated, not natural brotherly love, I'm in love with the NFL. Because the way the NFL is set up, it's like a never-ending story. And you can have your outliers, right? The teams that stand above the rest. When I tell you it's a dog fight, look at the Rams. No one respected the Rams. No one, except for me. And I kept saying they're going to be in it at the end. Now you got the Seahawks scrapping. Okay, the NFC West that looked very weak over the several weeks of the NFL are creeping back in, especially if the Vikings get weak. Here's what's about to go down, fam. The Vikings got to play the Lions this week. I'm loving every minute of that NFC North battle because I think the Vikings want to win. Yeah. They want in. They don't care if they got Kirk Cousins, Cousin Kirk, Captain Kirk. It don't matter who. They just want in. And so I'm loving it. You got Justin Jefferson coming back. The NFL wants that, right? Jordan Addison is coming of age. We know about Jordan Addison. If you're a 49er fan, we know all about him. So I'm loving it. And then you got the freaking, I never thought I would give this man props. But Baker Mayfield is playing the best, worst football I've ever seen in my career. He's good. His stats suck, but he's winning. And so that's the NFL. When you look at the outliers, the Niners are just in the driver's seat. They did what they needed to do. They lost when they needed to lose. They fixed themselves when they needed to fix themselves. There's only one team that can beat the San Francisco 49ers.
Correct.
It's the San Francisco 49ers.
It's us versus us. It's us versus us. And shout out to Darren at 808 and all the hashtag BBs for the Breezy Brunch and the hashtag CCs for the Countdown crew. Darren says this, and this is what the NFL's made us do. Can't believe I cheered for Dallas last week and Seattle yesterday. Feel sick to our stomach, but here's what's crazy. It worked out to the 49ers' advantage. Because here's the thing. I hate the Cowboys more than anybody. I hate the Seahawks the second most out of everybody. But do you know what? Even as much as I hate those guys, I love the 49ers that much more. And so if something benefits the Niners, that's what we're going to do. Like you said, you went to bed because you couldn't do it. You were tired. You didn't want to root for them. I get it.
I definitely didn't. Not one of those teams did not.
Yeah, I will say this. I'm kind of upset that the Seahawks finally realized Geno Smith's not their quarterback. I was hoping it'd be another year till they made that smart decision. I don't think Geno's getting that job back, man.
I will say Drew Lock started off shaky. That's when I fell asleep. But he finished strong. There was a pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba that I saw that not every receiver can catch. It wasn't the greatest throw, but it was a throw to where only his receiver can go get it. They catch it. They win it. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
no shout out to the Seahawks.
But yeah, my favorite part, I don't know if you saw the clip at the end of the game. It's going around on Twitter now, where Drew Lock is after the game trying to find Jalen Hurts to shake his hand. That's pretty customary. The coaches go say, what's up? The quarterbacks go say, what's up? Whatever. He can't find him. And so he didn't know a camera was on him, but he's like, where's Jalen Hurts at? Well, I guess he's still sick. And then turned around and walked up. Like, dude, that dude has no chill.
That's
and
dope.
I freaking love it, man.
That's dope.
You got AJ Brown. He's trashing fans on Twitter this morning, which is awesome. I mean, they're just,
they bitter, bro. They got their ass handed to them by the San Francisco 49ers, and they ain't been right ever since. We try, John, we try to tell people without telling people because we don't want to say like we know it all, but we were trying to explain that after they beat the Eagles, it was a wrap. Like, it was a wrap. Like, the Niners went into their home and destroyed them. And not one second during that time where those fans knew off that first sack by Hassan Reddick on Brock Purdy that they were going to take Purdy out again. And Purdy took him out, literally.
Man. And I want to talk a lot about, Brock Purdy. We're going to go over some of the MVP talk. Want to talk about some of the efficiency that the Niners are doing that just separates them just from everybody else. Love all the super chats coming in. What's up, Joe? He says, #CC now, Jerry Rice here. Thank you, man. Appreciate all the support. This is awesome. The whole community's here, man. Let's hit off some of these super chats. And we're going to keep talking some more playoffs. Nicholas Parra, the Godfather himself, had such a good time hanging out with them in Arizona and the family. Says, what a great football weekend for the 49ers fan base. Arizona was amazing, but we're not done yet, family. Hopefully we stay healthy and win 6. Man, and look, we had such a great time. Nick and his family are just the best. We had over 800 people come through on Saturday night for our event with Patrick Willis, which went really, really well. The amount of people was a little staggering, but we were able to take care of everybody. And then we had an awesome tailgate the next day, which was a blast. It was so cool, man. So, and now we're excited, and I'll put this out there now. The 49ers have clinched the NFC West, so that's done. We will be hosting a playoff game at Santa Clara, so we will be throwing a playoff tailgate. We're going to get that up on the site, but we don't know. It's probably not going to be wild card weekend because we have the buffer. It's probably going to end up being, the what's it called for the divisional round, but we'll deal with this. Shout out to my man, Michael Pickle, who was helping us out all weekend too. You and your wife are incredible, man. Absolute pleasure hanging out. He says, what a game, what a weekend. Rush road trip did not disappoint. The people, the whole Rush team, the Smiths, you two rock. They do, man. They're great people. Parra family there. And that's what it's about. Every time I get on a mic at an event, I always have to say this one thing. If you leave here without meeting new people, you failed the fan base because we are different. We bring together people. We enjoy things together. And this damn season is special. Michael, appreciate you, man. You're the best there is, buddy. And right here, Corey Robbins, another great one. Appreciate the super chat and the super sticker. You are absolutely just your generosity knows no bounds. So let's jump now. This one's a little bit harder to see, and if you're not watching on YouTube, that's okay. We still love you. We're going to do our best to explain the visuals as they come across. The new seedings, okay, 1 through 7. We went through the playoff matchups, but let's talk about why the 49ers basically have a 2-game buffer. Okay. So walk us through that, Wayne.
Well, I mean, currently they're the number 1 seed and they have the best record. So that's going to give you that 1-game buffer. And then if you still want to factor in the fact that they hold the tiebreakers, I'm not sure if that's where you were going. I mean, it does. So let's say that the 49ers just decide to win. Right? In order for them to clinch the 1 seed, all the other teams got to lose. So Detroit has to lose, Dallas has to lose again, and Philly has to lose again. Those teams lose all next week, and we beat the Ravens. Then it's all over. The Niners will probably rest players weeks 16 and 17, and it'll be ready for the playoffs. That'll be a 3-week bye for some of those players. That'd be really good, and so you don't have to worry about it. But let's say if we lose to Baltimore will be the only other game I think the 49ers will lose. If they had to lose, it would be that one. Why? Because it's a non-conference game, which means it ain't going to affect the 49ers like it would affect, because they want to remain with 1 loss in the NFC. That means that the Niners get that extra game because all they got to do is beat the Commanders on the road and beat the Rams at home. They'll still have first place at the end of the season.
Yeah, so the conference record, so division record's the most important, but the Niners already won their division. So now you know the division.
Clinched.
We've clinched that. Now we're past that. So then it's head-to-head, which we beat Dallas, we beat the Eagles. We haven't played Detroit. However, they're 6-3 in conference. We're 9-1.
There it is.
We got 2 games that we could lose in conference. Then you get into crazy tie breaks, strength of schedule victory, all that kind of weird stuff. But we don't have to worry about that. I don't think that there's a way that the 49ers lose both to the Commanders and to the Rams.
Correct.
And plus, on top of that, Detroit would have to win out, which I'm not sure they could do that. So the 1 seed's there. And the least important game, I know that it's Monday Night Football. It's the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's the number 1 team in the NFC. It's Christmas. It's going to be incredible football-wise. But from an NFC playoff seeding and from an AFC playoff seeding,
it's the least important.
It's the least important game for both of these 2 teams. So,
now, let's just briefly talk a little bit about the matchup from the outside looking in, right? Because when you look at these 2 teams, John, these 2 teams played in 2019, the year the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. Let's see if you remember some of this stuff, right? So in 2019, they played, guess what month they played in?
That was the crazy tear whenever what's his name? Chukwoski Tart had that fumble, right?
Yeah.
It was December. It was late.
It was early. It was the first week
Was
in
it?
December, right? So it was a December game because there was no snow yet here on the East Coast, but it was crazy rain. It was a weird rain type of game, not
that's right.
monsoonish, but rainy, right? And so I remember being there. On top of that, these two teams in 2019, their records were 10-2, bro. They were the top of their of the conferences in 2019. Who are top of the conferences in 2023, John?
Yeah, it's same. It's
With
same.
11-3, are we really doing this?
It's crazy, man. And, on top of all that, the spread is the 49ers are 5.5-point favorites against Baltimore. 5.5.
What?
It already opened. Almost a full touchdown already.
Dang.
This team is not the same team as all the other teams.
No, it's
and
not. It's not.
I don't have the correct graphic. I didn't.
I know what you meant though,
screenshot it
but
correctly.
and it's not. It's not.
But
I to buffer to bring the game into its fullness of whatever. It's two dynamic teams. To me, it's the most dynamic team of the AFC and the most dynamic team of the NFC, which is going to make Monday Night Football probably the most televised Monday Night Football of all time.
It's going to be a blast. Everybody's going to be home. They're going to be tired of their families by that point. And so then it's like, you got to turn the game on. You got to do what you got to do. Let's just be real. Kids are already tired of their gift. Dad put everything together. They're pissed off. I'm telling you, hey, let's just turn on the TV and watch grown men hit each other, and let that calm us down.
I love it.
Don't bother me. What's up, Steven? How you doing, brother? He says, I can't see the poll question. Yeah, YouTube's been weird with poll questions lately, so let me just put this out there, and I want you to put in the chat. So let's look at just the 49ers Arizona Cardinals game, because it was incredible. My question is, who was the player of the game for the 49ers versus the Cardinals, in your opinion? I gave 4 answers, and it's pretty close. Charvarius Ward, he had 2 picks and a pick 6. Christian McCaffrey went all world, all ham like he always does. 3 touchdowns, over 150-plus yards. Brock Purdy threw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Deebo Samuel goes out there with another multiple touchdown game. So based on the 100 or so people that have voted right now, and I love this because this would be my vote, Charvarius Ward is currently number 1 with 37%. Brock Purdy, 36%. McCaffrey, 25%. Deebo not getting a lot of votes. So, Wayne, I want you to kind of tell us who, in your opinion, deserves the MVP. Now, here's the problem with the Niners. There's always so many damn good answers. I don't think there's really a wrong answer here.
Yeah, look, man, usually it's an offensive weapon or juggernaut, but if you want to know who changed the game, it started with the Mooney Ward pick. It was definitely the swing, and it changed the momentum of what was going on. It let you know that the defense was seeing the field, and they were really aiding and betting, Kyler Murray to throw that ball across the middle of the field. It's kind of like they were setting the tone. So it would be Mooney Ward for me in my vote, and it's well-deserved. I feel like he's been having a really good season. A lot of people feel like he's been up and down. I never really see that. It's just depending on how he's targeted. Is he getting targeted with double move guys, or is he getting targeted with straight guys that's trying to run down? He was leading the league in PBUs, and people don't like PBUs, and even the players don't like PBUs because PBUs are like pressures, right? you want the sacks and you want the interceptions. So I get it. Those are the results. But the results are finally in. And how cool is it for a guy to go out there on a podcast, the Third and Long podcast with Eric Armstead, and say, man, once I get my hands on the ball, because the interceptions are coming next, once I get my hands on the ball, it's a wrap, basically. And he did exactly what he said. He practiced what he preached.
My favorite press conference. I hate that they put him last because I don't think a lot of people watched all the player press conferences. Here we go. Here's the clip. Charvarius Ward. I freaking love this man.
Yeah, so it was cover 3, tight end, 85 McBride. I saw him kind of running over. If he would have continued to go, I would have to let him go. But as soon as he sat down, he turned into my man. And as soon as he sat down, I kind of I just drove on and Kyler threw the ball kind of late. You know what I'm saying? I caught it and I didn't break stride.
I freaking love that dude, man.
Does anybody else get the DRS vibe from Charvarius Mooney Ward? Remember the Gangsta Lean? This song's dedicated to my homies in that gang. He got the Gangsta Lean shirt on. Nobody peeped it. It's just me. Damn, man. I'm so old it ain't even funny.
There we go, man. Right here, JC
This is
says, did you
for-
see Duncanville beat North Shore for the title? Duncanville's the school I coached at for like a decade. And
Got
so
you.
back-to-back state champs, the biggest division in Texas football. That's right, back-to-back. This is my year, Wade. I'm sorry, bro. We've
Do it,
got
baby. You got
Duncanville,
Texas.
state title, baby.
You got the Longhorns.
Texas,
I
they
see you.
going.
I'm
Niners,
with you.
we flexed it. I'm
Uh-huh.
just saying.
And the
it's
Dallas
year of
Mavericks
Chapman, baby.
suck. No, I'm just
Hey,
playing, bro.
Hey, come on, man. We always win the first month of the season. That's ours. Come on.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
I know it's hard, but I still love them. But I'm just saying, we got 3 out of 3, which I'm all right. We'll see. We've got some college football stuff. You and me, we're gonna have a side bet on some stuff, man. I'm just saying.
Hey.
Let's go right here. Gold Blooded. Thanks for the super chat. He says, Wayne, Breezy, and John, what scenario opponents would y'all prefer the 49ers to run into? So we did this a little bit last week, but as the weeks go on, it gets clearer and clearer. Now, if the 49ers are the 1 seed, which I think we have to operate under that premise now. Last week, we did a little bit of either or, but moving forward, we're the 1 seed until otherwise. You have to play the lowest seed. That's because the NFL playoffs reseed. So you've got to pick one of the 5, 6, 7 seeds currently, right? 7's Rams, 6 Vikings, 5's Eagles. Which one of those 3 teams? Let's rank them.
Let's do it.
Easiest versus most difficult out of the Rams, Vikings, Eagles.
Honestly, I think the Bucks would be the easiest in my opinion. I think you go Bucks, and I'm not going because of their record. I just like the way we match up well against the Bucks. Then it's the Vikings. I know the Vikings beat us, but they don't have the dynamic. They don't have the big gun arm and Kirk Cousins, and so you got to go Vikings next.
Nick Mullins revenge game.
Right, and it'll be Nick Mullins versus his old team, so you would love to see that. Next, I'm going to go Lions. I think the Niners match up really well against the Lions. I know we haven't played them, but we own Jared Goff, so I'll leave it at that. All right, then it'd be the. Oh, this is tough. You know what's funny?
Haven't said Rams.
I haven't.
Haven't said Eagles. You still haven't said Cowboys.
I would go Eagles next. I think the Niners. Would do due diligence against the Eagles. I think they have the blueprint, and this is not, me taking a shot at them. And if it is, oh well. Then you know what? Then I'm gonna go Cowboys, and then the Rams. The only team I don't want to see is the Rams. We have not beat the Rams in the playoffs. I know you don't believe me, but we didn't. I don't know if you remember, but that's the one game we haven't beaten them. And if Sean McVay gets his boys into these playoffs, that's gonna be, and that ends up being the NFC Championship game. It's going to be tough, even though LA will be coming up north. So I don't want to see the Rams. It's another division game. I want to sweep them at the end of the season and leave it at that. But how remnant would it be? We play them at the end of the season, and then we see them in an NFC Championship game. That would be crazy.
Rams have a little bit of a tough stretch because they're going to have to go at least 2 out of 3.
That's fine.
Get in. They've got Saints at home this week. That's not an easy game. They've got at Giants, which, okay, they should win that one, but Giants have been kind of weird. Then at the 49ers. So they would have, in order for them to play us, they would have 4 consecutive road games, which definitely isn't easy.
It's not, but we've seen it done before, John. We've seen the last seed in the NFL win the Super Bowl, not once, but twice. The New York Football Giants did it 2 times against the same team, the New England Patriots.
There you go.
So I'm just saying, like, don't let that underdog get in. Look, people keep sleeping. People think the Rams are weak. Look, they got a great running back. Matt Stafford is still good. They got weapons at wide receiver. The only issue where they struggle may be defensively, but they still got one of the best defensive players in the NFL on their team. And if they get all the way there, you got to respect them, right? Yeah. It's going to be tough, like you said. But they got to, if they get there, that's going to be crazy.
Right here, Joe says, man, the Ravens ruined my Thanksgiving. I remember that. That was the Thanksgiving Harbaugh Bowl, and then they beat us in the Super Bowl. There's a little bit of bad blood. I actually like the Ravens, but yeah, I still got a little bit of like, all right, I don't really like these guys.
He just couldn't beat his big brother, man. That's kind of what it came down to. We talk about matchups. It's like big brother owning the little brother, and that is always how it usually is. I think the little brother let him win.
Yeah, check out Terradome. I saw your a little bit of your show this morning. It was awesome. Send a message, serve notice, win like a mug. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Ed, John Wayne, the Niners are not letting Baltimore come into Levi's on Christmas and let Baltimore beat us. No way. Now, Baltimore is good. And like, I understand the 49ers are the best team in the NFL. You go out this week, and I want to use this to transition into a little bit of MVP talk. Look, right now, here's the MVP odds. Brock Purdy's the favorite now, minus 199. Lamar's second, plus 460. Now, here's the one area where I'm just like, I believe in Brock above all else. Brock against best competition is best Brock. Look what he did against the Cowboys. Look what
Always
he did
is.
Whenever the game is important, this dude is cold-blooded.
All right, coach. Blooded. Hey, let me go get my bass guitar. But seriously, no, you're speaking life, man. But just give a little bit of flip side. Lamar Jackson doesn't lose to NFC teams, and so I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I go back to 2019, and I know they're two different teams, but the way they ran Lamar Jackson, the way Lamar Jackson ran in that game, there was a Greg Roman offense, was a little different. It was a lot of RPO, a lot of one read. It was more Colin Kaepernick-esque in that particular game. It was just like, here, nope, take off and run, opposed to like really reading what was out there. But he looks a little different this year, but he still has the ability to do that. Now, the Niners have been doing really well against mobile quarterbacks. My issue is they got to zero in on Lamar, F the sacks, and just make sure they contain again. If they can do that, they'll have similar success, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game is close.
Yeah. Shout out to Gamboler on Twitter, at Gamboler.
This looks 8-bit.
It does. I screenshotted it, and it was late, and I was like, oh, no, I need to enhance it. I did it, but that's okay. I don't mind 8-bit. Dude, some of my best memories all time, 8-bit graphics.
Absolutely.
Brock Purdy has now moved into 10th all-time on the 49ers pass touchdown list with 42. He's done it in 23 games. Brock Purdy's played in 23 games.
And he's number 10? Well, guess what? He's about to move to number 1 in passing yards of all time as a 49er.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So now if we look at he's 205 yards away from passing for 4,000 yards this season.
Correct.
Which has not been done since the year 2000. And number 5, Jeff Garcia. It's been 23 years since we've had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards. And I feel like this has been the year of firsts. We had CMC, the first 1,000-yard rusher since Frank Gore did it way back in the day. Brandon Ayuk, first 1,000-yard back-to-back receiving yards from a wide receiver since way back in the day. Like, this is just a year of, I don't know, overlap, renewed nostalgia, golden era, whatever you want to call it. Like,
I call it just them being trendsetters, right? It's a whole different era, whole different type of ball game. Rules are different. The game is different. It's back to the quarterback, being a quarterback throwing league. And when you look at what Brock is doing, I remember arguing with somebody at the beginning of the year that telling me Brock ain't going to throw for over 4,000.
Wayne, you don't argue with people. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I do. What do you mean? He's not there yet. He's only 200 yards away, but this dude needs 480 something yards to break the record. And there's 3 games left. That's 161 yards per game. If you tell me Brock is going to throw less than 100, now this week might be a little different. I ain't going front. Like they might throw less, run ball more. They got to play one of the top. John, did you know that you got the top 2 defenses playing this week?
Number 1, number 2, man. Yeah, I understand Lamar Jackson gets a lot of the, and rightfully so. He's one of the most electrifying players in the history of the NFL. He's incredible. But the thing that separates the Ravens from other teams, it's defense. Their defense is great. Now, before we get to them, and we're going to Friday show on Wayne's channel, which is in the top thing of all this.
John brings the game plan, baby, and I love it.
We're going to spend all day Friday. So that's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time over on Wayne's channel only exclusively. So y'all got to go. It's right here in the top link of the description of this video, podcast, whatever you are. One, it's just free. Go follow, hit support. It's what we do. Now, this is a clip I wanted to play just from Kyle Shanahan when he was asked about Brock Purdy.
that he can see the whole field. There's nothing that he can't do. He has a poise out there. You can see it. He can react. When he doesn't have the time for stuff, he reacts and finds a way to get it to just a check down, try not to take a sack, or he creates and can get someone off schedule. He's had great command of our offense and just running it, but also the amount of plays he makes throughout these 2 years has been as many plays of any quarterback I've ever been around on how much he does. So he's been a stud.
Dude, it's awesome. I love it. I freaking love it. We got a Merry Christmas here from Rick Diaz. Now, back to this whole Purdy conversation. Shout out to Ben Baldwin who puts this out, all these efficiency and pass graphics and charts. This is the EPA per play, passes, rush attempts, penalties, everything. So every single play offensively, and it's measured against pass blocking grades from PFF. Okay, so the higher you are on this chart vertically, the better, more efficient you are. The farther right you are, the better your offensive line is. So again, me trying to explain this to the audio listeners that aren't watching currently. How far is Brock Purdy above everybody on this list? Looks like
Buzz
the damn
light
North
years
Star
away from everybody.
He's up there, man. Galaxies and galaxies far away. He is at the very top of the chart. Nobody is within 2 tiers of him. And then if you look at right to left, he's below average because the 49ers do not have a great pass block situation going on right now. Aaron Banks is struggling. Jake Brindle is struggling. 3 consecutive games in a row. The center left has been bad. John Feliciano's been amazing. But collectively, what Brock Purdy's doing with this offensive line, it's unbelievable. It's just so weird to me how great this kid has been. And here's what's crazy. I looked up, I was on just Pro Football Focus, just going through all kinds of different metrics. Here we go. These are the 4 metrics that they measure every single game for quarterbacks. Okay, this is his passer rate in all 4 categories against the Cardinals. When he was kept clean, no pressure, he had a 115 passer rating. That's incredible. When he was under pressure, he had a perfect 158.3 passer rating. Brock Purdy has been blitzed 9 times by the Cardinals this year in 2 games. He went 9 for 9. He didn't. Every single time they blitzed, he completed a pass this year.
Yeah, he's the #1 quarterback against the blitz. And so we've talked about this several times. Like, please blitz Brock.
Please.
Like, please.
But okay, then we look at when he's not blitzed, a 125.4, which would be leading the
still
NFL.
Highly efficient.
When and under pressure, when blitz, perfect passer rating again. Like, how do you find a weakness in what this guy's doing?
Yeah, it's tough, right? And I think his ability to not just see the field but process quickly, and make the accurate throw, right? And so when I went and watched the film, I just finished the offensive film, and when I'm going through it, and I'm like, all right, man, Brock had a couple of throws that I thought were a little off tangent, but he didn't make the mistake, right? He didn't make a mistake in it. He threw it to where only his receivers can kind of go get it. Then he had a couple of drop passes. Let's just call a spade a spade. So at the end of the day, there was a drop pass by George Kittle, and there was a drop pass by Brandon Ayuk, and then there was an overthrow to Brandon Ayuk, or however you want to look at it. So those are plays that, when you listen to Brock talk in the presser, yeah, man, we still could be better because they're missing on some of those home run plays, right? And so when you have a quarterback that can hit a home run when they step up to the plate, that's the game changer, right? Oh shoot, he's going for a home run here. And when you looked at that first one that he threw to Brandon Ayuk, yeah, Brandon Ayuk might not have scored a touchdown, but the ball literally hit him right in the rib cage, man. He just got to catch the ball. So these are game changing moments that we're seeing, and I think the reason why we feel the way we feel, we haven't felt, speaking for myself, John, I haven't felt this way since 1994, bro. I feel too confident, and it's almost like I just want to chill.
Yeah.
But I feel confident because you have a competent guy back there, executing the plays.
It's weird, man. And I love this, Sodia. She says, I mentioned that I'm offended you didn't have Sam Darnold on the poll because he should have lit it up whenever he stepped in for Brock. It's just the system, right? Sam Darnold came in. I think he ended up playing about 12 snaps in, trash
He's
time or whatever.
garbage. Let me just tell you how garbage he is. Look, I don't like to talk about our players like that, but I don't know. Like, if God forbid, if anything was to happen, like, Kyle's got to scrap whatever and just let Sam Darnold play Sam Darnold football. Like, at that point, because if you're asking him to run the system, I don't think he's it. I don't think he's it.
Yeah, it's rough. He didn't get to his first read at any of them, so like that's all he could do. Sam Darnold's first read quarterback. So if you play some press coverage, it gets bad, and that's what happened. You know, he had a 10 QBR, which measures like 0 to 100. Brock had a 93.1, which is unbelievable. He had a 10. There's a big drop off there, but we'll see. Hopefully that don't happen. But the amount of teams that can win a Super Bowl with the backup quarterback, I think it's like 2 teams in the history of the NFL. And so, you got Nick Foles and I don't know who else. Somebody might be on
But
there.
Nick Foles, to his defense, was a starting quarterback in the NFL at one point.
But so was Sam, right?
Right. So I think that's why they went with Sam, period. Because he's had starting experience. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you go with the guy with the experience. That's a dope Blitz shirt too, by the way.
He knew. He says, John, are you wearing the NFL Blitz Brock t-shirt? I sure as hell is. I know that's not correct grammar, but I felt it whenever I said it. So it's what it is. Now, back to MVP talk. So you've got Brock 1, Lamar 2, Dak 4, Josh Allen 5. CMC is not even top 5 odds. And I understand that everybody, like, it's just not happening. No matter how good he is, 20 touchdowns, he's got a 2,000 plus yards. It's a quarterback only award. Tyreek's not even top 8. So you look at offensive player of the year for the first time in several months. Tyreek's been banged up, injured, whatever else. CMC has overtaken for offensive player of the year. He's at minus 165. Tyreek's at plus 106. So if you want to go double down and bet on those things, hey, I'm just telling you, if that's what you want to do, here's where you do it.
You know sports and you pick winners all the time, so why not get paid for them at MyBookie? MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds, contests for all your sporting and betting needs anytime, anywhere. You can bet on NFL, NCAA, or, this is pretty fun, I love this, you can bet for the fences buy on the all-new money bag. So what happens is it's a one-of-a-kind type of opportunity. You just place your bet, spin the wheel, and you get ready to score epic odds on teams, athletes, events, all those things. It just increases those. So it's like a bonus spin to give you even better payouts and better odds, better chances to win. All you got to do is sign up for free today. Use promo code 49ERS or scan the QR code next to me, and you can claim a deposit match of any amount up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code 49ERS to claim your deposit bonus. It's not just a sports book. It's a community. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
All right, there's a couple comments that we've got to get to, which I'm excited about because there's just so much awesome. Shout out to JP, man, good friend. He says, I told y'all in the offseason Debo was getting back to All-Pro. I truly do believe he's the best player in the NFL this past month. Like, he would be my player of the month, which is crazy because we got 3 options there. But what Debo's doing right now is unbelievable.
And I agree, man. Like, Debo's just he's just locked in. Let's just leave it at that. Debo Samuel is just super locked in, and he continues to just make strides, and he's healthy. I think that's the key to Debo Samuel being great. It's just him being healthy. You get him the ball, he's gonna make a play.
Dude, I love it. Right here, Smoking Niner. What's up, Kenneth? He says, John, what a weekend. My nephew had a blast. Felt like I was part of the family, you and the crew of the realest. I think your nephew won 2 jerseys. He won a trivia and he won a raffle, which was really, really cool. Yeah, Kenneth, you're the best, man. Really appreciate all the times you get. And got to see the wonderful Miss Debbie. I hope you're feeling better. Greetings to you. Hope everything's all right. We were even on the same plane. It was kind of cool. I get on the plane with Patrick Willis, which was kind of neat, but I saw Miss Debbie and I lit up like a Christmas tree because she always makes me so freaking happy. She's the best. Johnny, he talked about this earlier, and I wanted to talk just a little bit about this, how the 49ers are in a tier unto themselves. One of the best metrics I could find right now, the 49ers offense has turned the ball over the least of any team in the NFL, the fewest turnovers in the NFL. The 49ers defense, most turnovers in the NFL. Like, has there ever been that much of a discrepancy from a team that protects the ball at all times and then the defense that just goes and takes the ball away at all times? Like, if there was a metric you want to lead in, I think it's points, then turnovers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because, turnovers gives the other team, opportunities to score. They change the game. They change the momentum. And so from an offensive side, you don't want to give giveaways, right? You don't want to give the ball to the opposing team because it just puts your defense in a bind, a lot of things. But on the opposite side, you want the turnovers, right? And here's the cool thing. The Niners are number one in turnovers. They're number one in interceptions. I know they have 9 fumbles. They had 5 forced fumbles in this game. Unfortunately, they didn't recover any of them, but they jarring that ball loose. Oh, yeah. And you know who fumbles a lot this year? Lamar Jackson.
Just saying. I'm just saying. Right here, I got to give credit right here to my main man, Wayne, right next to me. I don't remember which one of y'all said this. This is Thomas. One of you guys said the 49ers broke the Eagles. That was Wayne. He was screaming it from the mountaintops, man. And so not only do I remember, but Pepperidge Farm remembers. Here we go, Brad. John, are you hosting a rush party for the Ravens game? I am not. My wife said I could do Thanksgiving or the Christmas one. I chose Thanksgiving up in Seattle, which was awesome. I'm going to the game, but my wife said I'm not allowed to host any events or tailgates. So I will just be there as an observer. But I'm excited. My son's flying in from Texas, so the whole family will be there for that one. That's going to be fun. Right here, I'm going to turn this one to you, Wayne. Oscar's question.
All right, Oscar. He says, you guys hear the rumors about Sue. Any thoughts? I think he adds depth, but if we don't add him, we need to find someone to solidify the interior D-line. Too many missed tackles from and a weak line. Kyle talked about, not really pursuing the Sue situation, particularly this year. That was yesterday, but I don't know what would be today. He might change up. Now, it probably depends on the health of Hargrave and Eric Armstead. Kyle said that, he's planning to get them back soon. So, me personally, I'm with Oscar. I think you go get a savvy vet that can just do what they do. And you had a bunch of young players out there. I mean, there was plenty of times I saw Khalil Davis on the ground, took out Kevin Givens. I'm like, wait, you can't take your own man out. And so like to me, and now Khalil Davis has the high ankle sprain, so he might not be ready to go. T.Y. McGill didn't look super great. I think they need to get some good veteran presence in there. And the Niners have been adding vets to certain rooms. You brought back Jason Verrett. They got Logan Ryan. Do they get a vet just to finish out the season and add some really good depth there, John?
Yeah, you got to do T.Y. McGill. He's a vet. He's had a great career, but he had 3 missed tackles playing mock-up dude. Like, his snap rate, he got 29 snaps, which is a lot. But when Khalil Davis went down, that hurt. So, Spencer Wagee, he's on practice squad. I'm scared about that. Like, he's not a run stuffer. He's a pass rush defensive tackle. Stacking injuries is always a concern. So, when you lose 2 top 10 defensive tackles, we saw what that cost. And so that's something that I really, really hope. I really hope they kind of fix that just a little bit. Now, one of the things that we've been doing that I wanted to jump in is My Cause, My Cleats during shout out to Aaron for this idea. We just highlighted different 49ers charity every single week in the holiday spirit. So Brock Purdy's My Cause, My Cleats. This is one that's near and dear to my heart. The Child Advocates of Silicon Valley. And if you're not in Silicon Valley, there are child advocates for every single county in the United States. This helps foster kids. So whenever a child gets removed for whatever reason, it gets placed in the custody of the county or the state, they get assigned what's called a CASA worker. This is somebody that stays with the kids through every transition. Foster kids jump houses a lot, or shelters, and through the adoption process. Miss Joanne, for those of you that don't know, foster adopted parent right here. My boys had this lady, Miss Joanne, who still sends some birthday presents and stuff that helped them. My boys lived in 9 different foster houses and shelters before we got them. But they had one CASA worker that just was with them the whole entire time and even helped through the adoption process. And so this gets those. Everybody loves kids. And if you're in Silicon Valley or around, that's what Brock's going. You can just go to the links in this description of this video. Child Advocates sv.org/donate. Just go there, or you can just type in CASA workers, whatever county you're in. It just helps just make things comfortable so that the kids have one commonality through all the transitions that are going on. If you can't give money, you can volunteer. All those things are there. You can just pass it on word of mouth. So we got those things. So, Wade, a couple more things that I want to talk about before we jump out of here. Defensive wasn't all amazing. I know this has been a very positive show, and I'm thankful for that. But the tackling was a major concern. So let's listen to Kyle Shanahan. Then I want to hear your thoughts on the tackling of the 49ers defense.
I thought, just looking at it live, thought we missed way too many tackles today, which, and give them credit. They got a bunch of guys that are hard to tackle. I mean, obviously their quarterback is as tough as it gets, but they're skill players. They all can run. They're fast. They're back. They got a bunch of guys who create that stuff, but it was disappointing on the missed tackles. Always when you add in the running element of a quarterback, that gets some too. But we definitely didn't play the run good enough today, which I think was pretty obvious. But, we came here with one thing on our mind, and that was to get a win. And that's what we got done. And now we got to make sure to clean that stuff up.
Yeah, that's huge. And, plugged in right here, we had missed tackles on every level. So, Wade, what are your thoughts on this, man?
The missed tackles are an issue. 16 missed tackles.
That's Joe Montana tackles.
I'm not sure if this was the highest game, but I think it was. I think this was the game with the most missed tackles. I think previously it was 14. So, 16 missed tackles in this game. The missed tackles wouldn't have even... I'm more upset that they gave up the explosive plays on the ground. I know that sounds weird because and those explosive plays were missed tackles, but there were also other missed tackles, right? That didn't give up explosives. But, when you talk about the run game, the Niners predicate themselves on stopping the run. And when you get 2 runs for over 40 yards apiece, that's the issue. So when you look at their run game, you be like, if you take away those 2 explosives, you take away Connor's 44, you take away Amari DeMarcado's 49, which is the worst one. That was the last one, right? You take those away, they don't even rush for close to over 100 yards. And so the Niners got, but in order to do that, you got to tackle. So you got to get the tackling back in there. Fred Warner talked about, just getting back to the fundamentals and things like that. And why are we trying to get to the fundamentals week 15? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know if players are overcompensating. I don't know. But they gotta definitely be better. They gotta get those missed tackles. It's like the defense, worst part of the defense were the missed tackles. Other than that, they made plays. They got turnovers. They got third stops. They were good. They just weren't great. And now you got to play Lamar Jackson in that running team, and it's going to be tough this week.
It is. It's not going to be easy. And, everything that, my favorite thing that Fred Warner said is, look, I have to be the standard. I have to be. And that's like my new nickname for him. I don't know if he has a nickname, but he's the standard. He's the best in the NFL at his position by a mile. The best defense in the NFL, we're going to find out this week against Baltimore. But you look at, he led the team in missed tackles. However, he did have 6 solo stops, that's a damn good game. 6 solo stops in one game is incredible. But he does have to play hero ball whenever guys are not stepping up around him. And the fact that you have somebody like Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't have one solo stop. This dude's out there for 30 snaps and had a linebacker spot and had no solo stops. He's having to overcome and do a lot. Now, sticking with missed tackles, T.Y. McGill had 3. Fred Warner had 3. Randy Gregory had 2. I thought Randy Gregory had his worst game as a 49er so far. I did not think that he played well. 0 solo stops. Tayshaun Gibson.
He almost got Nick Bosa hurt.
He sure did, man. He took out 2 players, 2 plays in a row, and they both were Niners players. And it was just Randy Gregory, come on, man. Calm down. Tayshaun Gibson, 2 missed tackles. D. Winters 1, Embry Thomas 1, Demo 1, Greenlaw 1, and Greenlaw's 1 was bad. That was the huge touchdown run. He was right where he should have been, but he just missed it. Bosa 1, Farrell 1. So it was a lot. It was a collective effort, but whenever you win, and that's the thing, when the defense plays that bad, it gives up 200 plus rushing yards. That's crazy.
It's crazy. But the majority of those rushing yards, you subtract those 89 yards. I mean, like, it's just it was explosives, man.
Yeah.
And then it was explosives when they should have been tackled for losses. I think that's the issue, right? Like, you wrap and tackle those guys behind the line of scrimmage, boom, you Gucci. Like, I don't know. The Niners just got to be better, and to throw them some slack, they were throwing everything at the 49ers. They ran with everybody. Like, I think my grandma had a run. Like, everybody that can run the ball ran the ball. Look, James Conner, 14 for 86. Kyler Murray, 6 for 49. That was the issue. Amari DeMercado, 4 for 64. Michael Carter, they picked him up, 3 for 27. Greg Dortch, now they get into their wide receiver. Even Clayton Tune had a rush for 0 yards.
Yeah. They were running it. And I said, like, in the game plan with you, like when we were talking about it on Friday in my previous show, I was like, look, they're going to try to run the ball. That's what they need to do. That's their whole thing. And they did that. And they do have a lot of shifty players. But the 49ers got to be better. I don't care how good they are. You're playing a lot of shifty players this week, too. Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson. I mean, they've got guys. They're running back. They're stud young running back. He's out for the year. Keaton Mitchell, which sucks. But you got to go do what you got to do. You know what I mean? And so I'll say that. Like, the 49ers are going to be okay. You're going to get some of those guys back. You got extra days rest now. Let's just take care of business. That's what we got on the horizon, which I'm excited about. So, man, this has been a blast. And I really do appreciate. Oh, there's a couple more questions I forgot I had started. Got to get to. Mark, he says, any thoughts on bringing in a veteran punt returner? Number 10, giving me heart attacks. Wayne, this your guy, and every time I like talking to you about it because it kind of brings me back down to where I think I should be. Ronnie Bell, it could have been the biggest play of the game, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it could have been. Luckily,
2 out of 3 weeks we've said that, I think.
Well, I mean, the other one went out of bounds, so I don't know. Like, it's not like he muffed it in bounds. The ball was kicked out of bounds, and it went through his hand, and it went out of bounds. This one, he actually fielded, I thought, fine. And he tried to make a play. And going down to the ground, the ball came out. But luckily, he got his forearm down. So, look, people are nervous about Ronnie Bell. They're nervous about the number 10. I don't know what to say. Because if Kyle's going to use him, then he uses him. If Kyle is nervous, then he won't be back there. So we just have to wait and see what happens next week.
Not one has led to a turnover yet by him. So
yeah, but you said yet, so like I sense the doubt, like, you know what I mean, and that's fine. I mean, the rookie goes back there, is going to make plays, not the best as a returner, but an option. So maybe Kyle goes with a different option this week.
I would
got a bunch of wide receivers there.
I would like to. My whole thing as a coach was, look, man, who's the most experienced, trustworthy guy? I don't care about the play making. I care about taking whatever. Like, that's my thing. Like, a rookie punt returner is an oxymoron to me. That's not a Ronnie Bell thing. I'm super high on Ronnie Bell. I am so high. I would love for him to return kickoffs. I do not want him returning punts. It's just a whole different animal. But Kyle seems to be like, all right, cool. And I want to end on this. Oscar, he says, please donate to your local food bank or pantry. Canned foods are best. They don't expire. Used to work for the LA Food Bank. It's huge, especially during the holidays. This is usually where families are kind of low on money. Tough time of year. So any way that you can give in any way, shape, or form, please do it. My wife's working at food bank all day today. That's her job. So she's over there working. So just go help people, spread the generosity as always. And I love this community, man. Always bringing up other people. I freaking love it here, man. So awesome. Wade, with that, take us away. God, this has been fun. I can't believe it's been an hour.
It has. Guys, listen, happy holidays to everybody out there. Please enjoy this time with your loved ones, your family, and just have a great time. Have a great time during the day and get ready for some 49er football during that night. Because I can tell you right now, it's going to be a thriller in Manila on Christmas night. Woo! 2 banging defenses. I love to see it, man. Till the next time, in the words of John, stay strong, faithful!